here. Our error here that we had in the last string was just not using the type of here. We were looking at a string object versus a native string, which was the cause of the issue. So now that that's fixed, we can continue on. Again, I think it's just because we're looking at a property. It's wrapped in a property of another object that this was an issue, but this seems to work now. So I think the conference name really is the only place where we have a model being a single string. So that probably won't come up ever again. But just in case, here we are. So you can see that refreshing that page here does render things correctly here. Rendering this model is essentially going to get wrapped in this way of working. And again, we did have to change our mustache template to use the model instead of what we had last time. So I think that's it. So now we continue on with our journey here to continue to convert the rest of our code to look pretty nice in terms of slices. So we did add these little helpers: make event result, make exception result, and make model result, so that we don't have some of those strings such as type, exception, and type event and type model in here, and of course wrapping up the summary in there as well, which makes it a little bit easier to read. And I think also for AI, understanding that we have different things that we do along the way here in terms of making the 3 types of results, so we can also have a prompt that guides, you know, the simple structure of each of these slices. And yeah, so hopefully that makes sense. Let's just move on to the next one here. So this slice we finished the conference date. Okay, now we have another one here of the default view for rooms. We do have a room state view here, so this function is a little bit more complex. So let's just keep going and seeing how our little abstraction for our slices keeps going here, if it's good. So should be able to replace all of this with a slice. In fact, the rooms stuff has its own tests here, which we already did make kind of you know, quite slim, but we do have this meta stuff that we want to remove. So all of this code here shall be gone. So basically a page worth of these of this code should be replaced with this concise syntax that we've made here. So let's try to make this rooms apt-get, and of course we do want to see what it auto-generates for us. And the rooms state view, of course, is our function here. Oops, that's not it. We do not want we do not want that. So in this case, we want to, oh, actually, we don't have the refinement function yet. So that's one of the problems. It did jump ahead a little bit too far. What we do need is, yes, the event handlers. We don't have a command here, and so we're not supporting any queries at this point. Don't need to anyway right now. That's interesting. So event handlers, room added. We want the we want to return. We want to push that room to the data, and then return the state. So we really need state dot push, and we do need an initial state here where we have a collection of rooms here. So yeah, we have state dot push, and obviously it's not making the proper inference because we do have our accumulator variable for our reducer down below, and it's not correlating that state is a state is often the accumulator when we're reducing using these functions. So I think now that we have this, I don't know where to put that comment. I mean, it'll probably get lost in a lot of stuff, so it should kind of be, I mean, we could probably ask AI to generate some rules empirically by looking at this code, which would be kind of interesting to see what it would come up with, as we have an opinion on how these things go. So now it knows kind of what to do. So yeah, it should be able to add more event handlers here. And of course, room renamed is another event handler here. And so there's a room deleted. We have that. They're a little bit chatty. No, we have the event handlers here. I would probably want this on a separate line. Again, these look pretty much the same. Kind of don't like this syntax here. Probably could get some. If we're going to be doing this kind of plucking things out of collections and all that, we definitely could have a helper function here too to make it a little bit more obvious. But for now, let's just leave it. I think that's fine. So make model. Yeah, we just pass back the state. That's correct. That's all we really need. We did need the initial state over here. We could really ask here because we don't have anything. Now, one thing that is missing is every time we start a new conference, we're inheriting the rooms that we already made, which is not correct. So we do really have to have, well, we'll try to do it with the test. We'll do that with a test. Might as well show that the tests work. First, let's just get this to run as is. So we have the old functionality back. But I do notice that we have the conference started to really reset the rooms being added. Or, I mean, I don't know. Is it valid to keep them? I mean, if this is per user, maybe it's just one person that keeps, making events in the same thing. So, yeah, that might actually be okay. But for now, let's do the tests. So we have this. We've added this successfully, I think. So I'm just going to comment it out for now. And now we need the tests. And make sure that we have kind of the same thing here, really. We have these timelines. I really don't need this to be auto-generated. With these timelines, I can simply just highlight everything here, right up to that point. And I really don't think I need to do any more of this closing of the braces and all that. I think this is gonna have a much easier time with merging. That's the other thing, is that when we had this scattered as separate functions all over the place in terms of where it is in the one file, we had some merge issues. Not really merge issues, but certainly the merge conflicts weren't automatically done for us like we could have before, like we usually have. So let's close those off, and let's just escape that auto suggestion and just paste all this in, because that really is all that we need. And I think the only problem is the indentation here. Test timelines check. That's probably the indentation for the closing of the braces. Do we have an extra brace here? We have state checkpoints. So checkpoints. We only have one timeline, right? Yeah, we only have one timeline for this whole thing, which is nice. Checkpoints, timelines, and slice. Okay. So timelines and then checkpoints. And then, yeah, okay. So that looks okay. The checkpoints actually should probably be indented one more. And that's a checkpoint. So perhaps these need to be indented just one more. I think that's all that needed to be done. Now it looks a little bit better. Okay. So we've now also covered the test cases for this. So just to comment that out for now. We don't have the, this is going to be interesting too. Because we have, oh, that's, okay, so the rooms is pretty easy. The next, the one that's going to be a little bit trickier is the time slots. And, let's see here. The time slots will probably, I'm just wondering if we handle, so time slots is one that we haven't switched to be reduce. I think I was going to change everything to reduce, and then we got the idea to just reframe everything, just because we identified the common pieces of the reduce function. So it was probably better to do it that way. So let's see. Yeah, this this is quite interesting. Yeah, so this one is rewritten. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's just make sure that this slice is getting pretty hefty, but at least even with the, you know, I mean, if I'm coding normally, I'm probably at this font, or even smaller. I mean, I usually code at a font about this size on this screen. So you can see that I can plainly have in scope, you know, at least a couple of slices that are non-trivial, including their tests. You know, if this is an average size of a slice, you can see another one would fit here. So hopefully that makes sense, but so that you can read what I'm writing here, I'll zoom back in for you. Yeah, so that should be enough of a zoom here for everyone. It'll be a lot easier for me to read that small font when I have the light shining in my face either for the YouTube. But yeah. Let's take a look here. So we got everything going, and let's just see if we can add the rooms. This up again, and just rerun the application. And just double checking here that we actually want to. We're actually just looking at rooms right now. We're not adding them. So we should see an empty set of rooms. Unless we have some fake ones added earlier, but no, I think we just did time slots. So time slots are gonna. The reason the time slots showed up is because I used the setup, my events utility scenario setup, which copies, basically bootstraps the event store with a certain situation. I'm still wanting to see if we want to work more with that. I think we could. I think there's some really low-hanging fruit for setting up scenarios. For example, in order to test a slice in isolation, we really just need the core events that it cares about. But we also might want to say, you know, add maybe a -c command to the scenarios, which means cumulative. And so we could use some sort of a dependency or order mapper between the scenarios, meaning that if I want to have a scenario that allows me to test adding, let's say, the rooms, that I would also pull in the scenarios that come prior to that. So everything from getting the conference name to anything else that's there. You know, the conference dates. You know, in this case, we only have like a couple, but it would pull those in as well, and then renumber those things. So you could either grab the events that you need specifically to just get that one slice done, or you could add a cumulative flag, and then it would give you all the events that could have happened or are supporting events that happened in the previous steps, and test it out that way. That way you could, you know, maybe experiment a little bit more with, you know, with what you want to show from previous steps on your current slice. It's totally valid to have your own view of the world. Mind you that if there's more potential of changing events, or if those other slices are in flux or being changed, then you are going to need to be ready to deal with those changes. But that's what the event model is there for, to show you when that happens. So let's keep going. Oh yeah, we wanted to run this thing. So if we continue to dates, then yeah, we can set the dates here. Set the dates, and then congratulations, you set the dates. We notice that the model calculation is correct here. We have 29 events. We have the state. There's no invariance here. Then rendering the model. Yeah, that's the result type model, and then this is the model we render. So notice that it's stripped. That's good. And then we continue. And we do get the default room here, so we can say let's see, 400. We'll add that, and we should have it in here. Yeah, we do. We don't see it because again we have that change in the format of our events. So that is correct. We should not see this, and of course we have this as undefined here because we do store the event type no longer in the meta property of the event. It's at the top level now. We don't need meta. We just have to have the data in there. This is very similar to the way that event store DB works or current. So that's what we'll do here. So let's continue on. If that works, and it seems to, let's delete the old implementation. And I want to get rid of these comments. Really don't need them. While it's nice, it's also eating up tokens. Context, not tokens, but the context. I guess it is tokens. And now we can do the actual post of this. So we notice that this is output, initial state, and now we'll be basically doing the slices push. Not room reservation. Where's it getting that? Add room. We'll comment that out. And we do have the data, the room name. Yeah. So we do have navigation with some web data coming in. We do need more. Actually, we need more of these. So yeah, we need a room renamed for sure. And room deleted for sure. So we handle those. So this is where some people would say, well, I just want to, grab these and copy them. I don't like that coupling. There may be reasons why you have slightly, different way of handling a renamed and a delete. It may be that you're populating some history, perhaps, that this room was renamed or whatever in the view, whereas here you're simply creating enough state to make sure you're not you're not creating something that's that already exists, which I don't think we are actually. Which is curious. So we probably have some duplicate rooms potentially here. I would probably want to not have that. So we can maybe add a test to this. But so far so good. We have 3 of these to look at state, and so it should get us through to actually get a model. So add room, it's not no, we want to Yeah, the refinement function. What do we have for adding things? Yeah, so we make decisions here, whether we make an exception or make an event. And I think here we just make an event. Make event result room added, and that's all we're doing. So it's pretty dumb, like what we do here. Again, this is just testing how the logic goes in the infrastructure of event source solutions. So this is perfectly fine. We really don't, look at whether we have a room of all of that already in there, or do we? We do actually. Room already exists, so we do. So we have exceptions. So actually we do have that. So event handlers. Room already exists. That's fine. And then so we can do exception result. Okay. So it actually got quite a lot of logic here done for us pretty quickly. I do not like extra lines being eaten up, especially since we are using a larger font for the display of all this. And yeah, so I think these all of these should kind of sit on one entry per set of lines. No extra line breaks here. I really want to see, okay, this is my navigation. I'm used to seeing this blob of text. I know that I have my direction, my path, and my next path if I'm successful. So this is a good example where we come back to the same screen. But we do have one thing that we do have here, which is interesting. Is we redirect back to our rooms. So we don't render here, but we do come back to that here. Okay, so let me just get a phone call here, got to respond once. Okay, I'm back. So yeah, we have the next path, which we go to upon success, which is correct. And so yeah, let's continue on our way of testing this. Do we actually have tests for this? And oh no, we don't. Okay, that's fine. Room already exists, so we have this already. So we should be done with this fairly quickly. If we run this, We should be able to just continue and use this one. So let's add this, and we should see a different event now. If we go add, oh, we got a typo somewhere. Maybe probably just includes. Oh, I think that that's just bad syntax here. Oh, event sum. So yeah, we don't have that includes here. We have if state dot sum. Oops. Room goes into that, into room name. And I don't know if room name data, okay, we have meta type room added. Is our parameter really room name? I guess we do have room name. Is that what we got last time? Yeah, body room name. Okay. That's fine. Could clean the code up a little bit more. I think it'll be easier to clean up our business logic now that we have all of the other distractions out of the way. So yeah, that's a gross way to call it, but sure. So we don't have includes again. I'm not sure where it got that from. Let's try and add that again. Property sum. Okay. So in here are, oh, I know what we have. We actually don't. We have initial state, which we're not using. That's what has to happen. I don't think that'll fix it. I think, oh, actually it might, because then sum should work. If we had that as events being an array, I believe. So yeah. Try that again. Go back here and add this. And yes, we do. We have that. And of course, now we have room added. So this looks correct. And it's not showing up because our regular get here. Or do we have our get? So rooms direction output. We have initial state here. Data room name. Oh, that's interesting. So rendering model CS400. So model colon that. So we have an array of this stuff. And how did we do that last time? So I believe it's just the rendering that we have for rooms. So if we go and look at our rooms, where's our rooms? Rooms here. So yeah, we're basically expecting a rooms collection. And so we don't have that. We have a model, which we don't really want the word model in there. So how are we rendering this? So the result is the type model. rendering the model, and it's just an array of that. So I think we need rooms to be the object around here. So return state, direction output, refinement function. So we have make room model, and here we just have to basically add this wrapper to make it say rooms, and I think that should be good enough. If we rerun this, go in here and just refresh the page. Yeah, there we go. So we have that. So we have these things that didn't work before, now they do. I add another one. Oh, interesting. We get 2. That is not good. I'm wondering if it's reading that event somehow. Let's test it and just see if we might have a business logic error here. It's the CS 500 and see what happens. Yeah, we're continually adding more and more. Refresh this. Oh, okay. So we're adding and adding. So there's something that's not resetting. Is this our initial state? That's a problem. I think that's the problem here. So that's a fun bug. We have initial state here for output. State, yeah, refinement function. So it's definitely something that we should be stateless, yet we are retaining state somehow, which is interesting. We can just take a look at this here. So we're getting rendering model rooms, and we're getting quite a few of the first. It looks like it's just adding to the same connection over again. So 400, and we added 450, so it's 400 and 450. Then it's 400, 450, and 500. And then because we're refreshing, we're adding more and more. Every time we're adding more, right? So if I just refresh this page again, refresh it a few more times. Yeah, so it's something in, it definitely is in the rendering model, calculating invariance, getting the state. I mean, I could look and see, let's go back here to the first time that it happened so we can see. Here's the event of 500, right? So we already had 2 here. So there's the 500 one, but then we already tack on the previous ones, right? Before that we had 400, 400, so we had 3. We add this one, we have 5, so it's adding on the previous ones. And now we have a 6th. So 5 previous ones, right? And now we refresh that and we get all of them again. And then, so this initial state, so I think it's in a, could it be a problem with our runner? It's probably our bootstrap. See if we have, so it's in these here. So that's the initial state. Getting state from events. So this just gets everything from the event count is 33 the time. 32, 32, 31, 32, 33, 33, 33, 33. Okay, so obviously we're getting the right amount of events from disk. I didn't think that was the issue. But now that we have them, where do we have the events here? Getting states from events. Events count as 1.1, right? So 1.1. So we get that here. Events length. And that's after all of these are done. So then we have let state equals that. Go to initial state. Do we change initial state anywhere else by accident? I don't think so. So this initial state should be resetting things back to an empty amount. So then we have the state equal to the state plus the event. We call the event handler, or maybe it's our actual event handlers, but no, that wouldn't make sense. Calculating the invariance here. Maybe it's here that we have a problem. So 2.2, we get the state already. Okay, so the state here is bad already. I gotta scroll back up to see exactly when this happens because we have the model and then we have the states. I think it's a state already that's got the issue. This is a fun bug. Okay, how are we stacking these on top? So we have somewhere we have a push, which is really and handlers catcher. Okay. Okay. So could it be in here? Initial state is that. We just push these events to that. I think the test should pass. Let's just see that. Nope. Oh, we have the meta problem here because we didn't change the tests. That's an easy change here. We really don't want meta. Yeah, that's probably I'm hoping that's all because it's a pretty standard change that we had. We got bigger issues. State. Okay, that's just formatting. That's okay. So data, that, and then we don't need this extra guy at the end here. Still failing. We got rooms, but was model. Okay, so right. We don't have our test runner for state views yet, which is interesting. So let's go fix our test runner. So if our result is basically stripping out the type. We should just have the model. But we are getting nothing here. So we do build up in our tests, we do build up our previous data here. And we have nothing, which is, yeah, it should be model rooms. But it's doing should be equal to the event, but it shouldn't be taking the event. It should be taking the state as the, yeah, so we need to, okay, this is where we might want to change the format of this, or maybe not just yet, but we will need to once we do the dynamic consistency boundary, because we will have a data point in here. And that'll be what we send in, because look at the tests here. We have a parameter. And here we have a implicit parameter, which means we don't have anything. We don't support putting in that. So we have the state initial refinement, and then we don't have a slice refinement function. Yeah, we don't have a refinement function, do we? I'll do what I did last time and compare them side by side. Pardon me. Pardon me. Okay. So as we go here, that is not what we want. We want to see our test runner. Okay. So we can do the events reduced through the handlers, which we do have here. Okay, so that should be good. And oh, I think I know what it is. Actually, no. We used to push the entire event on there. Model rooms, main hall, auditorium. Okay. What is a model? but we're getting data CS room. Okay, so we're getting, see what the first one is again. So what are we actually getting here? So it should be equal to model and rooms. So we're getting an event. So the result should just be the state. Okay. So we need to say let result be undefined. And if slice refinement function, no, we have purpose. So now if we have slice, not slice, but if we have a checkpoint, checkpoint state, then we want result to equal state. Else we let the result equal the result of the refinement function, because we don't have that yet. In fact, we can just let the result equal the state. And then if we have a refinement function, we refine the state according to it. Yes, if there's a parameter, then we do that. That's actually a better, thank you, AI. That is correct. So now the result is the state. We refine if we have a parameter. Actually, that's not true. That is bad, because we can have a refinement function without a parameter. And then expected equals checkpoint exception. That's defined, get the exception. Otherwise, it's the event, and if it's not the event, it's the model. Okay. And did we do a model? No, we did the state. So we have to do the model here, I believe. Is it going to be rooms? Let's try it, because that's what it's suggesting. So if this is a test, and we have and we don't have a model, then we call the invariant function, sorry, the whatever it is, refinement function, and do it that way. Okay, let's see if that works. It's actually broken things. Oh, you know what? I don't think we strip the model. Okay, we strip the model out, I believe, because our result is the checkpoint. We have to do the checkpoint. The state there. Yeah, that's correct. All right. Test that the conference of the new name to be equal, but was nothing. So we get nothing for the first one. Let's walk through the first one since it was working. All right. We have an event, we have a purpose, we have a parameter. And now, yeah, the previous events return nothing. So our state is, well, that's interesting. Okay, we probably have an issue with, yeah, okay, let state equal checkpoint. Nope. Let the state all right, I see. So we just have events. But do we need to track state now? No, we don't, because we always pass in all of the events. We pass in all of the events. Okay, and the initial state is from the slice. Yeah, okay. Which in this case, we don't have one, which means it's not defined. And then we reduce all the events, which there is none. So state is undefined. Result state still undefined. The result. If we have a refinement function, in this case we do, we pass in the state and the parameter. In this case we do have that parameter of open spaces. And the exceptions. We pass in the exceptions. Do we need to even at this point? I guess we do, because we want to throw one of those. So then we check the expected. The state is undefined here. But the result should be an event. So the expected should be an event. Oh, yeah, that's the problem. This is the other way around. Yeah, so we first check for event. Everything has an event, so that has to be the last default. Okay. So that should... Okay, we still have an issue. What is the issue here? Data EM, blah, blah, blah. That was nothing. Should be data name. That was, oh, wow. Okay, that is very strange. So definitely something's going on here. Oh, name conferences. Yeah, name conferences. Oh yeah, we're definitely getting some funky stuff here. We gotta rethink this. So I don't think we need to have that. That was something that we added. The result is not defined. Okay, that's fine. So we let... Oh, of course. Let's just make a const result again and get this first part passing. That's still not passing. Yeah, we don't have that slice, of course. Problem. Next we have assignment to constant variable. Yeah, those are... Yeah, we don't need this result part here. I guess we can just do let. Since we're reshaping it here, it's fine. I think that's what it was before. Okay, so we've got these ones working again. But now we're back to... Oh, we just have the model and rooms. So returning the model. But we're getting from our test runner... We're just getting the rooms because we know it's the model here that we're looking for that's like that. So we just have to wrap it in that. So in other words, I think when we're stripping this, we are taking... Okay, no, we're taking just the type out. We have the model in here. Expected model. So we're stripping out the model here, which we shouldn't. And this is kind of a hairy piece of functionality here, but that's because we're also stripping out the exception. We just have the name exception. And then we have the model. We should really strip it out, or not strip it out, but if we have the model, then we need to return an object that has the model in it. Which is interesting, because we could move the result. So here we're stripping out the model. And in the result, we could strip out the model as well. But not before we strip those out. It's actually better to preserve that, because we could have we could have a type and summary inside the model for sure, and that's not, so we don't want to do it in that order. Oh, hey Jake, you're back. So would it be worthwhile to define an alternate set of event handlers to define the refinement projection? No, the refinement is actually something that is supposed to be kind of like your aggregate logic after you've played back all of your event history and you have a state, and you kind of have a decider function. So so the refinement doesn't really have a projection of events anymore. It's purely looking at what was already projected from previous events. I mean, that's kind of what I had at the very beginning, right? Looking at all those things. But then a set of patterns came out that we kind of want to get to a point of like, okay, I have to take all of these old events as fact, which means I have to process them all. And then I can do something on there. And in there, there's an opportunity for, you know, a bug to happen if you're replaying events from the past. But that doesn't make the events invalid. You have to take past events as fact. So you'd have to have some sort of a wrapper anyway around that iteration over the events. And so I just thought it might, for now anyway, separate them. Now, if there's some opportunity to do like you say and just push it all back together, that was my, mathematically speaking, yes, like it is a function of all events and the command and its parameters, and it gives you another event. Yes, you can look at it that way. But now as you're actually implementing, you sort of notice these patterns emerge of where you're calculating state. So could be wrong, but I kind of want to work from this code backwards to do that. So let's just see. We got this passing, and I think the only problem now is that we have the wrapper for model here, and yet we don't have it for here. And so I would just like to embed the either strip the result of the model level or add the model level to the expected. Because here we're stripping it. We're definitely in terms of the exception, we're definitely putting in just the exception of the checkpoint as the name of the exception, because that's what we're going to get from the result. So we already have that exception passing, exception should be thrown if conference is not changed. So we do actually have that comparison working well, where this exception is just says name and then the exception name. Because the result is stripped of the type and it just has the name. So anyway, that's kind of how we're doing that. The only thing that we need to do here is really break apart, I believe, this this whole thing to add the model back in, or to strip the model out. But then, yeah, we don't have these, so we take these out. So yeah, I think we have to add the model back in here. Yeah. So I am going to put brackets around this and just brute force this with another ternary. Sorry. Pull that checkpoint model. Doesn't equal undefined. Yes. JavaScript is so beautiful. Kidding. If a model is there, then we return model with checkpoint model. Otherwise, we do checkpoint event. And we get rid of this. And we still have an issue. So now we have, we're passing a few of them. Well, that's good. So what is the special thing about test 3? 2 rooms should be returned when 2 rooms should be equal. Model rooms, auditorium CS, auditorium. Okay, so we're not deleting the auditorium. Oh, this is where we have that state bug where even in the test runner, we're catching this adding more and more things. So somehow we're carrying state over from we're carrying the state over from the previous runs, which is very odd. I think it's in our implementation of the slice, I think. But how is that possible? Event handlers, yeah, okay. Initial state. I'm really thinking it's where we handle the state in our bootstrap function here. I could ask why is the state not cleared? Clean page refreshes or test runs. I don't think it'll get it, but I'd be no, that's not true. Where and tests. Oh, right. So if the test's exhibited, it's definitely not our bootstrap. Our bootstrap is fine. So it is somehow or it's in our bootstrap and our test runner. But if we fix it in the test runner, how could it care? It's a constant that just runs. Oh, wait a second. If this is a reducer for the checkpoints, it's doing the accumulator. That's correct. It's taking all events and just reducing that. Are we adding to the events? Events is always returned to 0. Are we doubling anything up here? I don't think so. So that's funny. So we got the state doing fine. And here we have the first one being repeated. Okay. So it's as if for the second checkpoint here, we're getting if checkpoint events push the event. Yeah, that's all it's doing. We're not touching events anywhere else, are we? Just here. Events, and we only check the events once here. And we look at the slice, so we look at the event handlers. Oh, wait a second. We're returning a state. Idiot. So this is, again, hallucinations. So if a slice doesn't have anything, we just return the accumulator, not the state. No wonder it's remembering stuff. Otherwise, return what the event handler returns. Okay. And so that is a problem. So that should pass our... no, it's not. Still adding that. But that was another error. So do we have something else here? Slice event handler. If it's not defined, just return the accumulator. If we do, oh yeah, we shouldn't be returning the event. So we should have, oh no, we should have a state. No, it should be return. It should be returning the, yeah, the event handler returns the state. It takes in the accumulator. Pops out, adds an event that it handles, adjusts the state, and returns that state. That's the accumulator for the next round, go around. Okay. And that gets initiated from how the slice operates. So why is it catching? So this accumulator is for this one. I think I'm going to start to name these and handler. This is really just for my, that's the event there. Yep. And so now the refinement function, do we have a problem with the refinement function? Oh, yes, we do. I think it's because it's failing here. We don't. Yeah, we're fine with this. And now we're testing the read model stuff. So we don't have a refinement, obviously, on. We go here. We're naming the conference. Yes, we have a refinement function. Actually, we do. We have a refinement function for all of them. Conference name confirmation. Okay, but we actually have name the conference and the rooms. Okay, so we have a problem with the rooms. We have a, okay, so we do have, a refinement function. I think this is where the issue is. Now, see, if I reran the application and refresh that page, I will be back to exactly what I need. Let's see, when I refresh it again, so something stateful in the application that I'm, oh, for God's sakes. This garbage spammy bots. I don't know whether I should even bother with a chat that's public. So every time that I run, Is it the statefulness of this test runner here? I have the events. It's just my state that I think is 2.2. 2.2. Every time I hit that, and I also have that problem with something keeping state in the slice itself, I'm guessing. Because the state here, let state, the slice initial state. Why is this not? And then events. See that we only have the same amount of events every time. Then we handle that. We reset the state to whatever this wants to make it. Then we pass it to the refinement function. Which we simply, okay, we decided that the refinement function is going to be there simply for stripping out the helper sort of data structures that we have along the way. And yeah, so that's what we're gonna do here. And is it something to do with, let's look at the word state. Okay, 2.0.1 state. Okay. Okay, so in 221, okay. So in here, it's fine. Oh, no, the initial state. That's interesting. So why is initial state being... Slice initial state? Yeah, this is the worst thing to be doing, but it's the only way we're going to get to the bottom of it. Okay, so slice initial state is getting reset somewhere. How the heck is Slice initial state. Oh, I think I know. It's a by reference problem. Ugh. That is the problem. So let's add a edit make slice dot initial state not get mutated by the event handlers. Okay. Okay, that's really nice. Stringify and not stringify. Creating a deep copy. Okay, so I guess that's fine. So that should fix that issue. Yeah, looks like it's fixed. The only other place that we're going to have that is in the test runner. Forgot about stupid reference stuff. Okay. That's fine. Checkpoint. Events are that. Where's our initial state? Oh, here it is. Slice initial state. We need to JSON. That should be good enough for that. Are we still doing that? Model is rooms, hall 1, 2, 3, main hall. So main hall, auditorium. Maybe that's just our test. So I believe we have an issue with tests are finished. Do we have an exception here somewhere? Yes, we do. Reducing the events. Okay, so it's an assert. 1084. Yeah. 1084. 1108. Oh, yeah, that's just the assertion. Not valid JSON. That's the problem. 1096. Undefined is not valid JSON. So I believe whichever test failed here. Oh, it's named the conference too. Oh god. How do we make that not work now? Oh, because of that stupid deep copy. Custom deep clone, right? Oh, nice. Sure. Why not? Okay, so that took care of those. But now we have model rooms, main hall, auditorium. 3 rooms should be added. Let's take a look at the test. The test now. Okay. So main hall. Oh, I think let's take a look. Do we still have the old test here? Uh Okay, so we have these 2 rooms. The next one passes here. We have auditorium and CS whatever. And that's the next one, yeah. So here we should why is this main hall? Oh, I think this is our rename. Something screwed up with our with the AI doing this for us. Just change the logic of it. So 3 rooms should be returned when 3 rooms have been added. Yet here we have room renamed. So we're actually missing a test. Thanks, AI. We actually have event. Oh. And we want data room name auditorium. So no thanks. Data. Oh, actually, do we need data? I don't think we do. That's the other we do. I guess this is the way that, no, we don't. Hold on a second. This is, yeah, we do. Yes, we do, because we can have other unrelated events. And I'm thinking about the command why we only have a parameter. Okay, that's fine. But here we need to add room name CS300. Yeah. I think that was the missing one. Good God, I really made a mess of my tests. So now that should work. And here we have main hall and auditorium. We should have this should be auditorium still. So it's getting confused by the fact that we have a we have 3 rooms here. The renamed event will be tested here. Old name auditorium, new name main hall. So that's fine. Model main hall. Yes, that's why the first test has an event, but it's testing from the previous checkpoints. So I think the name checkpoint is bad. We should have something like instance and time, because yeah, I don't want to have. I mean, maybe we do. I don't know. Like this wants to put auditorium in here, no rooms. So this could be named something like event for next checkpoint. And I had this running the other way around before, and I didn't like it because we kind of had the previous history there. So there's got to be something in. So it could be like model for previous events or something. That would, it's getting a little wordy. You could also have model before, model after this event, which is kind of stupid because you're repeating yourself all over the place. And I don't want to stagger. I mean, I could stagger them. I could have a checkpoint in the middle that has just the event, and then we do the model and purpose, and then another event and the model and purpose. That would help the AI to kind of make sense. And you know, that might be a better format for this because this is going to get auto-generated anyway. Seems so unnecessary though. I mean, if we're already getting trouble, it really doesn't hurt to have the event on its own line, and it shouldn't break our test runner because we do just accumulate these. So this will probably work better with well, let's do it. Let's see. I guess other people were kind of complaining about this as well. That yeah, might as well make the switch. So I guess there was an issue with the way people looked at the event model itself graphically. But okay, I get it. Like there's ambiguity as to like, did this event happen just before we looked at the state, and therefore it should be included, or is it happening at the same time? So all you can go on is previous events that were added. So, you know, in this case, for example, this would have to go to the next line, which is fine. Let's just get rid of it. Oops, control. So this would have to go to the next line to make this work. And escape, just paste it here. Now we have this. No rooms should be returned, no vents. Okay, that's fine. That should be okay. Then we have this. So we have to actually move them down one, which is okay. So here we have no events, and therefore the model shows that. Then we have an event. Okay, I think people will be able to learn a little bit more from this. Because I don't have to explain that a little bit. You can see that each checkpoint has something, a single thing happening. I think I was trying to format what the graphical version of this was into code. So yeah, now that's fine. So event auditorium. So now we have auditorium CS100. Yeah. So then 200. This event. Yeah, I don't. Control X. Here we can paste that in as something that happens after. Again, we can grab this event, add it, place it after. Yeah, I kind of like this better. A little bit wordier here, but we can strip some of this, some of these braces, kind of force them onto into their own thing. So let's take that out, that in, paste that in, get rid of this event. Paste it in on the other checkpoint. So it's easy to just insert checkpoints, as you can see. And oh, did I move them to the wrong side? So let's read these. Did I put them in the right area? So no rooms. Now we have this event for auditorium. Okay, so auditorium should be there. We have the CS100. Progress marker CS100 should be there. Yeah. Here we have event CS200. And so then we have CS200. And then 300. And then here we need yeah, so 4 rooms. And this should be CS300, yeah. And I have an event, old name, new name, yeah. So now we have that as a separate thing. Now we don't need this anymore. This room added for 300. We already had room added 300. And that's odd. Okay, so it really screwed up the ordering. So this is good. I think this is good. I don't need this event. I don't need this checkpoint. Yes. Okay. So another productivity moment achieved here where we now realize that it's easier to split these off onto their own separate lines, where now we can clearly see that here we're looking at what the hell? Why is that scrolling up and down as I'm moving left and right here? Oh, yeah. Honestly, yeah, VS Code is just absolute trash. So I just want to remove some of these spaces just kind of so we can see what's going on. And we can just close this now because we can just go edit it in here. And I didn't test whether the application runs properly still. Yeah, still runs well. Okay. Give a deep copy. I'm sure there's a better way to do this. So anyway, problem fixed. And we got a much better convention. So I'm happy that we were working on the conventions because this is going to make an incredibly easy time to map things. Now, what do we do about these checkpoints? Do we want to have these events? Well, these are the resultant events. So this actually makes sense because you need to check the command that you're running and that this is the result. I don't want to go to a second checkpoint to do that. So that makes sense. But in terms of state views, projections, we kind of want to interject like what in between these events, what does this thing look like? So I think that's pretty good. We could pretty much have a, you know, one event, one model type of flow, right? So stop suggesting stuff. So I do want to do one more change. In fact, I've kind of done this a little bit in the wrong order because I want the purpose to be up at the top. So I don't want that to be here. What are you doing here? Okay, that's that. And so that looks like a better format. So we have the purpose of the test. This is the model. Then we have an event, which is just this. I really want to get rid of the data thing. It's always just going to be data, and then it's going to be the... Yeah, can't get rid of it, can I? Unless I... It still kind of reads okay, I guess. So, a good reason why there was no event modeling standard early on, because there's all these things. Actually, before I do that, I gotta move that up or move this down, move this up. So, oops, really? Okay, so our checkpoints are kind of coming in with purpose, event, purpose, event, purpose, event, which is good. We do want to kind of put these up in here. switch these around. And then remove this. Then move this. And add a comma. Oh, really? Comma. I guess I should make the highlighting a little bit more clear. I don't know when I'm... Okay, and I really don't care that it's so tight on the space here. Because I'm going from event data to how it changes. So I have, yeah, old name, new name. I should see the new name and not the old name as I go from here to here. So that's fine. And then I can that. And this is the last one, I think. Oops. I don't know why that scrolled all of a sudden. I'll blame it on VS Code. I think that's it. I want to cram all these in here, just so that I have this timelines thing here, and checkpoints, good. And I think that'll still run. Yeah, all running, and I think everything's running still here. So, okay, so we got a new convention here. These still make sense. These events really do belong on one line as well. They're tiny. I don't really want them to take up a lot of room. This editing is kind of gross, but I don't want to be swimming through a million lines of white space to kind of see what's going on. And that looks better. I'm not taking up a lot of room anymore. Okay. So they kind of look the same. There's a purpose, and then what it's testing for that purpose. These are separate steps that are just events, which is great, and it's quite tidy. So, you know, here's our functionality, and then here is our stuff. Where did I put the stupid deep copy function? Strip events, deep clone. That's it. And there's garbage. should just be a one-liner as much as possible. And it should go into our infrastructure code at the top. We do not want to be looking at a lot of this code. Goes up here. That can go up there. Okay, this piece of crap now stays. Where do we have our... Oh, okay, everything that's got to do with our language issues or framework issues goes up here. That can sit there. Okay, so it's out of the way from the rest of the stuff. We got rid of this, so that's actually working properly. If run test get set conference name, that's the default thing that we had. Okay, we can get rid of that. This is our bootstrap. We don't have to look at that right now. So this is our helper for our slices. I guess we kind of, I don't know where to put that. I guess it's being used immediately in these, so that's fine. So let's see what the next thing is that we have. So we've added the rooms. Add rooms. And we delete rooms and we say room already exists. So let's just see if we have that, and if we do another one of these. Okay, we have a problem. We need to have a better error. So when we're throwing here, yeah, so when we have a result, do we have an invariance function? Error undefined message. Okay, results 3.2, we have the result. Switch type, and we have exception. So we have new error result. Oh, this is where we look at our, okay. I think it's name. Is that all that we do? Rooms? Room already exists. Okay. Room already exists, but we don't... Yeah, we have a problem here. We shouldn't be doing that. Because we go to error next. Why is this throwing an error? Error next. We should be... Error undefined. Message room already exists. That's almost there, but now we have slice dot exceptions. Okay, so one at a time we'll figure this out. And make another room, see if we get... Something went wrong. That's not good. Still 160. So where's our slice? We also need to make sure that the error goes to a proper... We have that, and then we have a global error handler. And we don't want... Something went wrong, something went wrong. I thought I had more code for like 400 level. Huh. Cancel. Just want to see kind of what we had in terms of logic for QA here. The hell app.js, is it comparing stuff to that? That all that's different here? Oh, it's just what the change was on there. Okay, that's... I want to actually see the file at that time. Where can I see the files? Yeah, we had the error correction working nicely where if we had this exception, I think that's kind of what we did, but I thought I copied all of the error handling code. Oh my god, these bots. Yeah, these are all bots. Hola amigo and all of that. Done. So do we actually have a better... Ah, great. So that is if request accepts HTML. If error code is greater than confined, it gives me the stack. Otherwise, we have an API response. Whatever, that's fine. This is the same code. I think we just have, okay, so 422, we have no message. Result type, room already exists. So room already exists should be our exception. Oh, we don't have exceptions, do we? Rooms, add room, event handlers, exceptions. Yeah, we have that. And so make exception result. Room already exists, and room already exists. Room by that name already exists. Okay, so if we do that, we can still test whether that works. Let's double check that we can add that. Something went wrong, but that is not what we want here. So we've got node map. Okay, all that come okay. Yeah, so it is for, why is it throwing error 422? Okay, that is the message that we do here. So this is the result, which is fine. So everything goes through here, and then we catch the result as the exception. But where's this error 422 message coming from? I think that's the other, okay, so yeah, we don't have, let's just take a look at what's happening here. Why do we have 5? It's just 6 on this one. Let's see what's up. Something went wrong. No crap. Type exception name already exists. Okay. So new error, slice exceptions, result. Oh, it's exception, not result. Oh no, result type. So what are we printing here? We're printing typos. Okay, exception, and this is the result with a type and a name. Type is exception. And then the result dot name should be that. Okay. Okay. And this should just be message. Yeah. So here we go again. Something went wrong and we got, okay. So we have a problem with the lookup. So slice exceptions, console.log, slice exceptions, and this is 5.2. Room already exists. Okay, I see. We have an array. That's the problem. So slice exceptions. Oh, is this a problem? Get the syntax now. The chat. No exceptions. It. That's it. Okay. That's what we need. So that and then colon and then that. Yes. Okay. And so do we have the other exceptions here? Yes, we have another problem here where we just do that. Snuck those in. That's fine. Do we have any other direction? Output, input, exceptions. Yes, this is what we have here. Okay. All right, that should be better. And get what we need. Perfect. Okay, nice and clean. 164. New error. Message. That's funny that it does that. Let's do that and see what happens. Do we actually get a 5.3? Ah, why is that blank? Does it even add that? I guess it's because it's some native thing. It's not a serializable thing, so whatever. Yeah, so it gets the status to be that. Okay, so that error actually does error 422, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, that's good enough. I don't mind having this in here, although... Oh, because it prints out the stack too. Do I really want the console stack here? And that's weird that it's choosing line 164 where the error... Okay, so I see. So whenever I make the new error object, that's what it puts on the stack. It's pretty cool. All right. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Let's just keep going. I think we need to clean this up more, but I think in this case, we kind of have the basics running. So I'm going to commit all this stuff. Believe it or not, we just changed one view. Everything else is in app.js. Let's add everything and commit this as whip. All right, so that's up there. You can see if you want, and we'll just continue on with these refinements. So we don't need any more right now. We also don't, if I want to get rid of these yet, I guess if I want to have the other slices working, this is kind of a good example of two paradigms at work parallel to one another. That's how independent the slices are. Although the events that we're getting out of some of the older slices are in the wrong format. So instead of just changing them and seeing if everything works, I'm just changing everything here. Now, I really don't need all of that. I should do one more test. Right, next error exception. So this should really be that should be exception. Yeah, I really don't need all of these things here. Don't need that. Oops. I just don't need all these logging things here. This is just really not that important. I think it's enough that I just have that. And I can just inline that. Get rid of that. error next is fine. Okay. And error next, of course, is something that we just get passed in. One of the callback things from the framework. Error next right here. That's good. Okay, let's see. These handlers here, they take up a lot of room, but shrink them at least like that. These helpers just make this syntax a little bit easier to understand. I think with the make exception result and make an event result, and then make model result, which is your query, right? I think it would be query result. I think I'm regretting calling it model now. Whatever. Let's keep it as model for now. Although that's too much of MVC, model view controller, so query would be good. I'm afraid to, as I go further on, it's going to be harder to make these changes. Right, and then of course we want to have that as a, we can get rid of that. Just brute force, eh? Jeez. I do want to have that as a query in there. It's past 11. I should be getting to sleep. So let's do that. Okay. So yeah, let's keep going here. Now, do I really want, I think I want the word model in there for that one default, and here we just want to use query everywhere else. Because in this case, it is kind of like an MVC where we have that. And the query contents are query results, I guess. Now I'm second guessing this. And of course, we're going to need to change all of these things here, except that's not query. Here we have query, 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 query. Please don't change anything else. Direction output, so it should have a query. return yes query result. Input is fine. Output, that's fine though. State return query. Yes, 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 that's fine. And that's kind of some brave refactoring here. I want to use that word. I don't want to use refactoring. But in this case, it might actually be appropriate. Okay, so now tests we have here. Exception, name exception, model. I think this needs to be query. Mm-hmm. Okay. Brave changes, probably have a bunch of things failing. Let's first see. Yep. Of course, this make model result. Okay, so make model. So that is up in here. It is one of our slices. Make event result, make that. Make query. Make query and make ugh. Yes, of course. And here we forgot about this. What did we forget about? These are all queries. Yes. Make query result. Room state push. Da-da-da. Room added. Data date new name. Slice rooms. Slice rooms. Okay. Where is that model? Oh, is it in the test runner? I have query here. Data rooms, query model. So it's returning model rooms. Huh. Rooms. Thank you. All right, good. Let's just get at all that. infra code. Okay, so that's good. Now are we happy? I think we are happier. So add rooms works for now. So now time slots, we can work on that. And we got quite a bit of functionality here. Because we got some tests here as well. But now that we've got things trained pretty well here, and nope, we want direction to be input. And we have start time, end time, all of that. Yep. Initial state, we have that, which we don't know is correct. Event handlers, time slot added. That's the only one here. And this is, again, not using a reduce, which is one of the reasons we wanted to redo all of this stuff. There's just too much to change. So yeah, we have that. State push, that's all we do here. Yeah, it's really ugly. This so this is where we had, I think Jake was talking about this. This is where we kind of had some of that inspection of the existing events. So I think we may need to actually introduce the data to the event handler here, because we'll be making use of it here. And I'm wondering if we can make it an optional so that we still call okay, so yeah, we definitely need to do that here. Time slot added. And here we can actually have the state as the result. This is very interesting. Because this gets us on our way to the dynamic consistency boundary where we're injecting the data to the point at which we're actually filtering. So this will actually evolve from here. I forgot that we were doing this. We definitely can get the state and have all of the time slots and then iterate through them to see if we're overlapping with any of them. But there's no reason why we can't make that check as we're getting the events. And furthermore, as this becomes, data points that we're interested in, the index that we use for these could tell us directly whether we already have an issue with that. So it's kind of like a materialized view, but in the index, and we allow the index to act as kind of the invariant checker which follows business rules. So it's pretty interesting. You just make indexes on the fly for whatever you want. And it's really a different way to go about getting the same effect, but you kind of have a better mathematical view about it, I think, anyway. So, but here's the question. In our bootstrap function now, when we have our event handlers going here, this is what I was thinking about, is do we just have the state right? There's just this catch error here. Is this where we actually want to dip into the exceptions? That they can actually be thrown from the event handlers when you're not doing a state view, but you're, or is that okay? Or do we have a generic way, a generic thing where we wrap this state in something, and if the collection of errors is empty, then things are fine. But the minute that we have an exception, we could even hang something off of these event handlers. That if we have something to check, maybe either a callback. Let me think about that. And I don't want to. I want to keep things simple, so we're going to try to reduce the amount of code that we end up with in the end. I actually want it to be. I want it to be fairly simple in terms of what we do here. See, we need to get the parameters at the higher level. So we really need to let parameters equal that. So maybe what we do is we don't complicate this. We get it to the point, and yeah, this is what Jake was getting at, because I think when you look at this, that we can fail the invariant early on. We don't have to get the state and compare it. Like, this is part of that exercise. I just wanted to make sure that we have in the first pass, we kind of have everything reduced to its smallest moving parts, which I think in this case, unfortunately, we will play back all the events in the traditional sense, which I don't like. Just pushing them on the stack. And not that, you know, the idea here is that we can inject this as callbacks all the way down. So as we're reading data from disk, we stop the minute we have a problem for our invariant. We don't need to get the whole stream to stop. Say, look, I already have something there. Now, at that point, this is very specific because here we haven't added the removal of a time slot. And so you couldn't, if you did have a removal of a time slot, you couldn't rely on, as you're replaying this, to now say, hey, there's an overlap, because that could have later been deleted in history, and then therefore your time slot that you want is actually available. Not only that, but even in our situation here, what we have is the resetting of the conference, which means all of these should be removed. Like we're not even removing we're not even resetting our state when we're getting a new conference, and we should be. I think we made a stupid decision to keep the defaults from previous ones, but now we risk this really long history, which we don't need. So let's continue to persevere through this and see how we can get at some of these interesting quirks of this. I'm going to take the data piece out. I'm going to do things like we were doing before. Okay, and so refinement, time slots input, so we don't have a query. We in fact don't return anything. We basically have to yeah, take all of this has overlap. Okay, so we do have, well, Anna has all that. I guess our tests will tell us whether this works. And this is going to be interesting because we don't have a query. Checkpoints, we have purpose. Where do we have that? Happy path, data, meta. Okay, so we have these. And unfortunately, this is still the old way of doing things. We have the data and the name. So, yuck. So, I mean, let's split this in half again. It will copy from here as to what we're doing and use our new format on the left. So we have the happy path. It's not even capitalized. And purpose. We have parameters. And parameter, we have 9:30, 10th, 25 first session. Yep. And a resulting event. Oh no, that's way too much. Don't give me all that. We don't need meta. Our function, we have what? We have purpose parameter event. Purpose parameter event, which is data, and which has name. And that's interesting because this slice always emits that type. But because in the timeline we can introduce other types of events, I guess for consistency we can keep this redundant data. Though we shouldn't really need it. So we have that. That's one, and then we have another purpose. First timeout should be added when valid. Second timeout should be added when valid. And then exception overlapping. And so we have all of these. Okay. So that looks fairly okay. Now let's just double check because we got 9:30, 10:30, and then we have this 11 to 12 overlapping. The exception parameter, exception, parameter, exception, and when entirely within an existing timeline. Okay, so we have that. I'm not holding my breath for these passing. Surprise, surprise. They passed. Okay. Well done, AI. That was really, really good. So we have that, I guess. I'm just gonna comment these out as before. We need these exceptions. We don't, do we have these exceptions? No, we don't. Initial state, event handlers, refinement function, and here we can add exceptions. Required free missing in this time slot order. And, okay, I think that's correct. Okay, that does look kind of ugly. But then again, we are, I mean, yeah, if you look at this, this actually makes perfect sense, right? We have time slot required fields missing. Time order is invalid, so we have start time greater than end time, which is wrong, and then of course we have this weird logic that somehow we can detect time slots. Well, hold on a second. Why are we not doing that? Oh yeah, we are. Sorry. And this has overlap. So do we have has overlap? Okay, yeah, we're missing a bunch of stuff. Time 2 minutes. Yeah. It's pretty dumb. It's kind of like just copy pasting this crap here. But we do want to do this has overlap. Yeah. So we do have that. New start, new end. New start, new end, throw. Make new. Yeah, that's right. But now we need to do state dot and on state we have to const has overlap and filter. This type doesn't need to happen. The sum is what we need. Okay, that looks good. And if has overlap, we make an exception result. Yeah. Okay, so now we have this exception result. We have this. I thought we had 3 exceptions. So what do we have our throw? Throw exception time slot invalid. And exception time slot overlapping. And required fields missing. Okay, do we have that? Yeah. Make exception required field missing. Good. Okay. This thing can just live on one line. Okay. So that's kind of what we have here. Now I have to comment all this out. just see if we pass the tests. Oh, we're still pushing the tests. I don't want the tests anymore. Those are no longer valid because they can't find the... All right, and we're still passing. Okay, that's great. So that should allow us to at least add these time slots now. Just see if we've made any issues with let's run this and time slots. Oh, the time slots is here because we still have the regular get for time slots. So it's still going to use this old view here. We don't have tests for it. Let's see, it probably won't show things on the screen, but it should store the events correctly. We already have some because we set this up for using the old time slots. But adding a new time slot should add them in a new format. But we will be ignoring, I think, some of these things because we won't be able to or maybe we will. Actually, we will. The fake data that I'm using has already been transformed into the new format for events. So actually, this should do that. And I'm actually surprised that it's showing us the proper results. I guess it's because I really don't know. Why is it working? Well, let's try 12 o'clock. Sure, 12 o'clock, and then we'll do 1 o'clock. And do third session, session 3, or just third. Go add. End time must be after start time. So I believe it's actually not reading what it needs. Yeah. Yeah, it's getting nothing there. I think we also have a problem with how this is actually getting the data. This web data might not be correct, but I somehow doubt it. Anyway, I think that's almost midnight, so I think I'm going to call it a day. But we got through quite a bit. I think we can, even by hand, fix this without referencing existing stuff. So I think that's it. So until tomorrow or another day, hopefully you learned something and can start to add really small slices to your implementation with just a simple bootstrapping function. Tie everything up. And then when you're asking AI to do stuff, things should just work. I mean, we have two different standards in one solution here. So obviously the AI is getting a little bit too much work, much context to make heads or tails of which format I want and things like that. So yeah, I think we'll be able to fix this tomorrow and continue on. And then after that, we get into the interesting pieces like the processors, other things. Hopefully we'll just continue with this easy format for, this is the first refinement function that we have that's got non-trivial amount of code. And these I do expect to be the majority of the logic that we get. But we can always have this, these tests. Good thing about this is that we see the tests actually passing. So all I think we have a problem with is the incompatibility with how we're showing stuff, I think. I'm not sure if this is the issue here for what we're doing in our application here. I mean, we do see these. I don't know really how this post is failing right now, but we'll find that out tomorrow. That's been enough streaming for one day. So again, thanks for joining me for the second session today, and we'll see you